Hello guys, it's B. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today we are going to be going over the newest developer update, which I believe is 7.6.2. Yeah, I believe that's what it is. And I know a lot of people don't use Reddit or they don't pay attention to every update, so I'm going to be going over everything in the update. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what it means and my personal opinion on a lot of these things. If you want to look at the post yourself, it is titled Developer Update March 2024, and it was posted by the developers. And excuse me, it's actually 7.7.0. So for starters, what was gone over in this update? As far as killers go, the twins and the blight were covered in this update. There was one map rework, and that is Haddonfield, Lambkin Lane, Michael Myers, Laurie Strode map. Perks was Ultimate Weapon, Adrenaline, and Decisive Strike, which I'm sure you guys are all excited to hear about if you haven't yet. And new features, we have store improvements, removed D-pips, and archives improvements. And so I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions about what some of that means, and I'm here to explain that to you. So for starters, we have the twins. They were, I don't want to say completely reworked, because it's not, a total change in their power, but it is considered a major update. And I do agree with that. So we'll go over all the changes first. First of all, they reduced the time it takes to switch back to Charlotte, from Victor to Charlotte, to 1.5 seconds. That was a 100% decrease in that, because it was originally 3 seconds. Next, they reduced the time it takes to unbind Victor to 0.75 seconds, was 1. They reduced the time it takes to charge Victor's pounce to 0.85 seconds, was 1. And there are 2 new features regarding that as well. It added the ability to recall Victor at any point while he is unbound, and it added the ability to change between Victor and Charlotte near a hooked survivor. But keep in mind, the anti-camp meter still does go up, okay? If you're in the process of changing, if Victor is still there, that still does raise the anti-camp bar, okay? Next, they updated 7 add-ons, and it doesn't say in their post which add-ons or what their changes were. But 7 add-ons is a lot of add-ons, okay? So, keep your eyes open for that. Next, this was a change. Victor's pounce no longer latches on to healthy survivors, okay? So, if Victor pounces on a healthy survivor now, there won't be that latch on where the survivor has to run around and crush him. Okay, that is gone, alright? Next, Victor can no longer be kicked after successful pounces which do not latch onto a survivor. Okay, so if he fails to latch onto a survivor because, he can't latch anymore. But if he does hit the survivor, there's that little cooldown, or even if he doesn't, he cannot be kicked. Okay? There's that. This is a new feature. Victor's pounce now latches onto survivors when they are put into the dying state. Other survivors can crush Victor during this to help the dying survivor. Victor will automatically return to Charlotte after 20 seconds. Okay? So that was what the teaser picture where Victor was holding down Dwight sort of foreshadowed. Okay? When they are put into the dying state by Victor, he latches onto them and essentially holds them down on the ground. And other survivors have to be the ones to crush Victor in order to get him off of the survivor and pick the survivor up if needed. And this is also a new feature as well. While Victor is attached to a survivor or holding a survivor in a locker, Charlotte gains a 10% haste status effect. This effect will be lost prematurely if Charlotte hits a survivor. So Charlotte gets haste to be able to get to the down survivor quicker while Victor is holding them down. That is essentially the main point of this change. The point of this change was, according to the developers, to address the slugging meta. Okay? So, that means the twins' best playstyle will no longer be to slug. Okay? They have created new features and changed old ones to ensure that Charlotte can get there fast enough to pick up down survivors, and Victor can assist her in that. So that is what this new change in the playstyle looks like. All right. There's one removed aspect of the twins, and it is that survivors near Victor while he is latched onto another survivor are no longer revealed by Killer Instinct. So, yeah, it essentially just fights the slugging meta that the twins have been under since their release, and introduces opportunities for more interactive and fun playstyles with the twins. And I'm kind of excited for that. I think that the twins have needed a rework like this since I started playing the game. Okay, like this is just I think it's about time. I'm happy for the twins. I'm happy for the twins players, all 5 of you actually, and I am pretty happy with this change. So, all right, next we have the Blight. Just a very, very small change. They call it a minor update. It's just that they improved collision detection to reduce cases where the Blight slides off objects. That's it. That is the Blight's only change. He had a larger update earlier in the year. I don't know if it was a major update, but he had a bigger update earlier in the year referencing his add-ons. So this was all they did with the Blight. I don't really have an opinion on this. I didn't know he was sliding off objects, to be totally honest. So if you're a Blight main, though, and you're happy about this, I'm happy for you. Next big change, well, they call it a medium update. I think this is pretty big, is they reworked the Haddonfield Lambkin Lane map. And actually, I won't get into my opinion on it until after I'm done telling you guys the changes, okay? So we'll start with the first change. So they updated the map layout and reduced the overall size, which, of course, as a Survivor main, smaller maps equals worse maps for the most part, unless it's a big map with no resources, right? I'd rather take a small map with a decent bit of resources, an appropriate amount of resources, than a large map with none, okay? Like Yamaoka. So, I guess we'll have to see it in action, but that's sort of disheartening, okay? And they reduced the length of hedges and fences to create more openings. I honestly do think it was about time for that. I actually agree with that specific change. When I play Killer on Haddonfield, it's just, around those fences, it's impossible, dude. I don't know what else to call it. I cannot catch up with those survivors, just by, like, weaving through the fence. It's really a pain. Alright, next is they adjusted various houses to reduce the strength of strong loops. And I know you guys know which loop is being referenced in this specific note. Mainly the main house, Michael's house. There's that window vault right out front by the door. And then when you go back through the house, there's that window vault in the back against like the railing, okay? And that is actually a loop. You can run that for a really, really, really long time because it's such a long loop. And it was so strong. It was I don't want to call it the killer shack of that map because there's no pallet or anything, but it was pretty close to the strength of a killer shack loop. And they're just getting rid of it, I think. I don't know if they're getting rid of any other house loops. I mean, it does say adjusted various houses to reduce the strength of strong loops, but I know that that is the main one for sure. I can't really think of any others that might be in there. If you guys have any ideas of which other houses they might be adjusting in terms of the loops, be sure to comment down below and let me know about that. And the next change is they reduced the number of houses on the map, but now all the houses can be entered. Because I think you guys know there were either one or two houses on that map that were just blocked off. Like, there were no windows, no pallets, like, nothing to do with those houses, which was really annoying. Like, why do you have them if we can't use them for gameplay? I never really understood that. And so they got rid of all of those houses, or I don't know, maybe they got rid of those houses, or maybe they got rid of different houses and just opened up the ones that were closed before. I don't know. But it says just reduce the number of houses in the map and all remaining houses can be entered. So, we'll see. Next, this is a new change. They added pallets and lockers along the edge of the map. Let me tell you, it was about time for that, chat. It was about time, okay? I can't tell you how many times I've gotten stuck around the edge of the map in a chase, and there's just nothing. There's nothing to do. No counterplay. You're just dead. It doesn't matter who the killer is. Holding W isn't a playstyle. It's not a strategy. It's not counterplay. So, eventually the killer is going to catch up to you, especially on the edge of Haddonfield, okay? I'm so glad that they're adding tiles back there, okay? That's great. Honestly, small price to pay for the rest of to be able to get that. As well as that they updated street tiles to feature more pallet loops. We've been needed, more tiles in the middle of the street right there, okay? Because if you can't make it, Haddonfield is currently in a state where if you can't make it to a house, you are dead, okay? And it just shouldn't be like that, all right? It just shouldn't. It's not the worst offender of this, okay, compared to, maybe Backwater Swamp or, like I said, Yamaoka. Those are much, much worse maps. But Haddonfield is still an offender. Not the greatest offender, but an offender, okay? And they adjusted pallet loops in park tiles. Those little tiles where there's a monkey bar set with a pallet in between them or something. They adjusted those. And they left a note on this saying, the outdoor areas were fairly empty before, encouraging survivors to make a run for the nearest house they were chased. Literally what I just said. Okay, so as much as I'm sad about losing those really strong loops at the houses, like I said, it's a small price to pay for having an overall larger number of resources, and hopefully better ones at that, okay? So, that's Haddonfield. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Decisive Strike, okay? You can tell by my face how I feel about this, but we'll talk about it anyway. It is simply a small change with a little bit of a new addition, okay? The change is, they increased the stun duration to 5 seconds. I'm so glad they did this, guys. I am so glad they did this, okay? For the longest time, I've had Decisive Strike in my build, but I refuse to use it without a Winter Party Starter. I had 243 Winter Party Starters saved up on Ada with no use for them until the tunneling meta woke up and all the people whose parents don't love them came out of the shadows and started tunneling every game. And so I brought Decisive Strike with a Flashbang, Firecracker, Winter Party Starter thing, and that was the only use for it. Okay? It was unusable if you didn't get the blind. Alright? It was just so god-awful. I can't even begin to explain it. Okay? If you missed the blind, or if, the killer had Franklin's and they made you lose your Firecracker earlier, it was just so bad. It was so bad because you're in a locked animation when you get off the killer's shoulder for, I believe, about a second. So then you only have 2 seconds to make distance. Now you have 4. Okay? And so I'm very happy about that because I finally ran out of Winter Party Starters on Ada and hence on everybody else. She's the only survivor I really play. And so I'll be able to use DS again without a Firecracker or a Flashbang or a Party Starter. Hopefully, if it's if I feel like it's still not good enough, I'll probably just leave it out. But it's really necessary at this time in the game, in this state of the game, chat. It's just, you gotta have at least one anti-tunnel perk. I have Off the Record and DS. I literally cannot play without them. It is too many shitters. Too many skill issues. And the new addition to Decisive Strike, and I actually like this, it's kind of cute, is that they added a stabbing animation when DS is used successfully, and that is a Laurie Strode perk, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever the fuck we had before was a joke. This is a Laurie Strode perk, and I'm very happy about it. I think it is about time that they brought back the 5 second stun, because 3 seconds was literally just too, it was unplayable if you didn't have some means of increasing the duration of the stun, either if you died in a pallet or had a flashbang. So, alright, another one I know you guys are all waiting for is Adrenaline. Okay, this is considered a medium update. Personally, I believe that this doesn't totally gut Adrenaline. I've never been a big Adrenaline fan. I've never used it in a permanent build or even a temporary build. I used it a couple of times during the Hardcore Survivor Challenge, But other than that, I have never been an adrenaline enjoyer. Probably because I don't play with a full 4-man. I think that it's very, very useful in a full 4-man, even given these changes. So let's go over them. First of all, adrenaline no longer activates if you are hooked when the gates are powered. So if you get hooked in the end game, like let's say the killer picks you up, last gen gets done. You get hooked. You come off the hook, adrenaline doesn't activate anymore. You will not be fully healed off the hook, and you will not get the speed boost. Okay? The next change was it reduced the speed boost duration to 3 seconds. It was 5, now it's 3. Okay? I think that is probably the worst change about this. And then finally, the adrenaline no longer caused you to wake up when facing Freddy. Okay? It was about time for that too. Like I said, personally, I've never been an undying adrenaline fan. I've never really used it. I think it has its place in a full 4-man, but I honestly don't have a huge problem with this change. The only thing I think is a little bit unfair is that the speed boost was reduced. Okay, I never understood the coming off the hook healthy thing. This is coming from a Survivor mains perspective. I truly didn't understand how that was fair. How survivors were able to come off the hook healthy with adrenaline. I don't really understand that. So, just go down faster or don't go down. That's the way I see it. Alright. And the final perk update was Ultimate Weapon. And I am quite happy about these changes. So let's go over them. So now it reveals survivor auras instead of causing them to scream. So much better. So much better. Okay? There are so many people that have told me, and I've seen people talk about this, that they've had to run Calm Spirit. They've had to run Calm Spirit to counter Ultimate Weapon and perks like it. Okay? Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to give up a perk slot for a bad perk at that, a god-awful perk, because of a commonly run killer perk. It's just... The aura thing is so much better. It now becomes grouped in with barbecue and lethal and nowhere to hide and perks like that, where now you have to play around it or you run distortion. Okay? Like, distortion is already like in the top 10 most run survivor perks anyway. So maybe people will be a little more discouraged to run Ultimate Weapon now. Okay? The next change was that it reduced the activation time to 15 seconds. It was 30. I think that's fair for the trade-off. Okay? And they increased the cooldown to 60 seconds, was 30. Once again, fair for the trade-off. And this is what the devs had to say about it. Ultimate Weapon was a jack of all trades, providing both information and a consistent way to interrupt survivor actions. Rather than screaming, survivors will instead have their aura revealed. This means it will no longer interrupt survivor interactions, so survivors won't know that they are being revealed to the killer. Okay? So I really think that this was a good change for Ultimate Weapon. It remained a useful perk while still being, or while becoming, I guess, balanced, where its only counterplay isn't just have Calm Spirit. Okay? So it's now going to be played around like barbecue is played around, or like lethal is played around. Okay? And I think that that is a good thing. Alright? Now, this is probably the happiest thing for me in this update. I am so excited about this, chat. Even more excited than DS. They removed the ability to depip. They removed the ability to lose a pip entirely. You cannot depip anymore, and this is so great. Because if you guys join my streams, if you've watched some of my other YouTube videos, if you've seen my TikTok, you know that the biggest ick for me when it comes to the emblem system is just how hard it is to pip in the higher ranks, and when you do, you're essentially guaranteed to depip the next game. Okay? No more. No more. We don't have to worry about that anymore. And I'm so happy about that, because I shouldn't have to pay the price for my teammates sucking. And I've said this plenty of times, that I believe Behavior needs to address the Survivor emblem system as being less team-oriented. Okay? It's not bad for it to be team-oriented a little bit, okay? But currently it is too team-oriented, and at the very least, if they're not going to fix that, now we can't be punished for it. We cannot be punished for our teammates sucking, and that is just wonderful. I am so, so happy about this, guys, and I think that this is great to retain newer players and essentially give them hope, you know, give them hope that, like, I can rank up, I can do this with enough hard work, and one game isn't going to ruin it for me, you know? So I think that this is, overall, probably one of the best quality of life changes that we've gotten in a very, very, very long time, okay? This is wonderful. And, next, we have the store, okay? They've updated the store in terms of the look, in terms of new little things, so let's go over it, okay? They have one change and 5 new things, okay? So there's a change in that there's a visual overhaul to the entire store menu. They're just changing the way it looks entirely, okay? And I will insert a picture of what the new store will look like at the end here, okay? New, they added specials tab to highlight items that are on sale. Cool. They added a collections tab to find cosmetics from a specific collection. Also very cool. So now you don't have to go looking for it. New, they added bundles containing multiple items at a discounted price. It is so funny. My fiance and I were talking about this like 2 weeks ago. Like, why don't they have discount bundles? Like, for certain cosmetics or certain chapters or anything. Like, why? And 2 weeks later, they have it in the PTB, so that's really cool. This one I really like. They've added killer Mori animations to be viewed in the store. So before you buy a killer, you can see what their Mori looks like, if you don't already know. And I think that's really cool. That is really dope. Because I personally, when I play killer, it is only fun if I get to Mori people. So I try to bring a Mori like every game when I play killer. And so if I went out and bought a killer and I didn't know what their Mori looked like, and I brought a Mori and I was like, oh, this is it? Like, really? Like, that's how I feel about the pig's Mori. You know, like, if I didn't know how bad hers was, like, it could have been so much cooler. She's a Saw character, come on. And it's just so, it's so not. It's just really bad. But, yeah, like, if I didn't know that and I went and bought the pig specifically to be able to Mori people with the Saw character, and that was what I got, I'd be pretty upset not knowing. And new, they've added a weekly gift that can be claimed for free. So, a lot of people have speculations about this. We don't know if it's going to be, like, a charm, or if it's going to be, like, blood points, or whatever. But I'm happy with anything, honestly. Yeah. A free gift is a free gift. I'll take it. And finally, the archives. A lot of people are really happy about this, but I'm not totally sure what they mean. So, just wait for it. The change is the new tombs in their respective rifts will now open at the same time as the update. And a new Rift bundle option, which grants the premium Rift rewards and a 20-tier head start at a discounted price. Okay? And this is what their note says, so help me out with this. Rifts have historically opened the day after our mid-chapter updates, but no more. You can now get cracking on those challenges right away. We have also introduced a new Rift bundle, which includes the premium Rift Pass and 20 tiers at a discounted price. The premium Rift Pass can still be purchased separately if you prefer. So, this is what I think they mean by this, okay? That now you won't have to wait 6 months after a character comes out for their Rift to come out. Because, like, if you guys are aware, the next Rift that's supposed to come out is Sable in the Unknown. And historically, they've made it, like, 6 months that you've had to wait. There's just, like, nothing in between. And it's really stupid, okay? So, what I think they mean is that they're changing that. That the next update will have Sable in the Unknown's Rift. And their challenges and their tomb and everything. So, is that what they mean by that? Or am I getting a little too hopeful? Let me know in the comments what you think that might mean, because I'm not totally sure. But anyway, that is the end of developer update for March of 2024 for chapter 7.7.0, not chapter, update 7.7.0. And I just want to say that I shit on the devs a lot. They make a lot of mistakes, but this is, by far, in the entire time I've been playing this game, the best overall update that I've seen. Okay? All the perk changes are either really good or mostly good. Haddonfield, like I said, is a small price to pay. The twins are getting a nice rework. It's all, and you lose the ability to depip. Like, let's not forget that. It feels so well-rounded, and I'm really happy with how they did this. I'm really genuinely happy with the way they went about everything. And I am just very excited for all of this to come out next month. I'm on console, so I don't have access to the PTV, but if any of you guys play it and you like it, or you have any comments about anything that was discussed in this video, let me know. And yeah, be sure to follow my other socials. They're linked down in the description. Subscribe to my YouTube and give this video a like. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.